Okay, we've got everybody here that's going to be here.
$3.
Here, Debbie.
Yeah, August.
Everybody else is down here.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming. I'd like to remind you, if you have your cell phones, and please put them to vibrate or silent if you could. And we're here for a special meeting to discuss wages, ordinances for the jail, for the correction officers, corrections and so
In the
forth.
courthouse.
In the courthouse. As well as discuss the funding for the highway garage. Don't have an agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I guess the first item we'll discuss is the correction officers, correct?
Yeah, there's, yeah.
This was for, remind me again, Debbie?
This you already passed at the meeting before last to allow that one-time bonus to be paid to community corrections officers, which they receive from the Department of Corrections. And that's just housekeeping. We have to do an ordinance and advertise it in the paper to comply with our public noticing. And then, yeah, that's that.
Would you like me to read the ordinance? Are you okay with it?
I'm all right.
It's exactly the same as what Michelle put in on the 144.
I just want to make sure that now, the way I understood it, Michelle said she took out all the taxes and.
It's that they've already been paid.
Yeah, they've already been paid. She took that out
Yeah.
before she gave it to us. Okay.
Plus, that ordinance also states that they are excluded from being in that one-time incentive bonus that you passed with the
Yes.
2014 salary ordinance. So they would not get that. They shouldn't get two bonuses.
Yes.
So,
Any other questions on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion to pass this ordinance.
What's the number of the ordinance?
Ordinance is 2014-07.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2014-07.
Second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Russ, correct? Russ, you
Yeah.
seconded it?
yeah.
Okay. It's been moved, we had a motion, it's been seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay, or motion carries. Quick on the gavel,
Yeah.
the same one.
This goes with this, and it's this one.
Okay. We have another ordinance here, ordinance 2014-06. This ordinance amends prior ordinance 2013-06, which said prior ordinance fixed the compensation of Fayette County employees for 2014. By this amended, the prior ordinance, namely 2013-06, is amended and only in the following regards. The 2014 salary for the auditor's office, secretary, bookkeeper will be $20,947, effective 7/14/14. The 2014 salary for clerk's office, secretary, bookkeeper will be $16,747, effective 7/14/14. David, do you want to comment on that at all?
Yeah, that's the one that you just passed last week for a gal to come from the clerk's office down to my office. She carries her same pay because it has the same starting pay. And for Scott to replace that person in Melinda's at the starting pay of $16,747.
Any discussion?
How did that shake out, Debbie? Did it save money by getting a new employee up here? Time they got all transferred around? How did that shake out with the salaries?
No, it just
Even?
Yeah, because if I had to hire somebody, I would have hired him at $16,747. So instead of me hiring him at that price, Melinda hired him at that.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to accept this ordinance?
I'll move to approve ordinance number 2014-06.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Councilman Flom. We have a motion on the floor, it's been seconded, is there any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion, a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay. The next two topics would be the highway garage and the pay for the highway supervisor. I think we'll just discuss the highway supervisor first. Commissioner, do you want to discuss this? When we talked about this last week, I think you made it pretty well clear that we need to make a decision either.
What we discussed at last week's meeting.
I mean, we discussed that it was basically looking for about 45.9,
45.9.
45.9, somewhere in the neighborhood to keep Jay on board with all his
Right.
experience.
And what I'm saying is going to, from our interviews with people that applied for that job, it's going to take right at that amount of money to hire somebody to take his place. So, you know, we would rather keep Jay in place than to hire a new person. Right around the minute, we don't have anybody, there's nobody that'll take the money at our starting salary. The people that did apply for the job are making right at what we're asking for here.
And we talked about it last week, somewhere at 43, somewhere at 45 in that neighborhood for pay, what they're currently making,
Right.
or more.
We had one in at 38.5, one at 43.5, and I don't just remember what, but it was all in it. And I think when you looked at your state book last week,
Right.
you found out that the average for our size county is in the neighborhood of $46,000. So that's what the going rate is for a highway supervisor.
I mean, I've had to hire people, you know, I've had my own business, I've had to hire people, and I know it's hard to find people with experience, and I know it's hard to find good people when you have a low wage, that have the qualifications that you need. And we know what Jay brings to the table. We still don't know exactly what your people bring to the table that you've interviewed. I've been on the other side with people embellish their resumes a little bit. I'm not saying that these gentlemen have, I'm
Yeah,
not saying.
I don't know. We do know what we've got here with Jay.
Right. I would be comfortable with keeping Jay on board. If it's a couple more years, it buys us a little time. I think we as a council have to address, and I know Russ, that's what your committee is working on with the wages. We have to address this at some point and get it more in line with what it should be. I mean, it's kind of silly to expect a supervisor in that role and capacity with all the stress and headache that comes with it to be paid less money than his subordinates. It's just not the way it works.
No.
What about, let me just ask a question here. If you guys are hiring a supervisor at 45.9, who's gonna replace him when he goes on vacation? Who's gonna replace him when he gets sick? Who's gonna replace him when he gets his sick days?
Who's going to replace him now? I mean,
I'm just asking you. You guys are the ones in charge of it, not me.
no,
That's what I'm asking
we
you.
have no money. We have no money to.
Well, the guy that replaced him last time was Kim, and we paid Kim overtime to run the
Kim
highway
We
department.
have in the past paid, give the surveyor a stipend to go down there and run it. That's the only thing you can do. We don't have any more money in the budget.
Oh, you just told me last time that Sudoff doesn't want to do it.
No, I didn't tell you he didn't want to do it. I said that he didn't have to do it. You mentioned just have him go down and run the highway department. You can't just say, Mr. Surveyor, you go down and run the highway department. He's an elected official. He doesn't have to go down and do that. If he wants to take a stipend and you offer it to him, he can. But he's supposedly already got a full-time job.
I guess my question, Parker, is who's going to replace Jay or whoever is down there when they're off on their vacation? I mean, what are we doing there?
Well, we're not doing anything because
What are we going to do?
well, unless the council gives us money for another person, we're gonna try and get the surveyor or try and get somebody to take a stipend to go down and do it. That's all we can do.
How many years has there not been an assistant supervisor, I'll call it.
3 years, probably. Is that right?
So
4
Jay, what's
years?
happened for 3 years?
4 years or whatever,
For 3 years,
3 or 4
What's
years.
happened since there's not
I've
been?
used Kim a lot down
Okay.
there, they covered up. She got more years in the county system than I do. And she knows the book works and everything like that, and I can leave a list of things to be done. But that, I'm not gonna guarantee she's gonna be there after.
I thought she was retiring.
That's what I said, I'm not gonna guarantee she's gonna be there after the first year.
What happens
Well-
when you go on vacation for a week? How's the department run?
The last vacation I took after the first year, I had Warren come down. And he comes down and starts things in the morning, then he leaves, and he's not around all day. And you still gotta have somebody down there in charge while you're not there.
That's no different than what Jerry Goldman used to do, isn't it?
Yeah, Goldman used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just asking that question, what are we gonna do?
Goldman would always throw it on to Kim, if something come up to call him.
What are you
Come down.
proposing? Are you proposing
Well,
a
I ain't proposing
solution or?
anything right now, I'm just trying to get some information.
But that's a separate question than what we're gonna do about hiring a highway supervisor.
Oh, well, I just wonder what we're gonna do if we hire a supervisor for 45.9, what are we gonna do for, when he goes on
Just the same
vacation?
thing we've been doing the last.
Same thing we've been doing?
But if you were on vacation for 6 months, could the highway department run itself? Or do they need it?
Could they run herself? It would depend on who's in the office down there to help keep everything going. That's the whole thing. You gotta have somebody good in the
We
office.
have a supervisor because we need a supervisor.
Yeah.
You offered 26.5 or something?
26.8 is your starting salary.
26.8. Why, I know that's the starting pay, but I know Tom Flutterman started out at 36, has no road supervision experience at all when he was hired. So he didn't start out at 26. When Mr. Price was rehired, he started out at 36. So why didn't we?
Council set
That's a
starting
council
salaries,
question.
not
I know.
commissioners.
Yeah, but, okay, we started, but why did they give Flutterman 36? That's what I'm asking. That was probably before all of us, none of us were around when that happened. I don't know what happened, but how did he get hired at 36? And he was a construction worker, he owned his construction company. Had no road experience at all, so how'd that happen?
The council just made the decision to make that starting salary at that time.
That's when the starting salary should have been changed, probably.
Oh, you're right, and we just keep
Back
kicking the
then.
can down the road. I mean, we as a council, not saying us in particular, but as a council, years past, whatever, we keep kicking the can down the road. And in essence, we give Jay another,
And that's no different with Jay, we start Jay out at 38.
but it buys us, we did. And we're talking, and I don't think it's unfair to ask to give the man $6,000 because he's gonna be losing money out of his retirement if he stays here. And I don't think that's fair to him to have to do that.
Plus, when he leaves, you're gonna have to raise the salary up to that anyway.
But it buys us a little time with something you're working on. You said you wanted to address some of these issues
Well,
after the budget
I'll
committee.
address the issue back in my mind, and this is my own opinion, we haven't even discussed it with the committee, but I think the starting salary should be like, starting off at the highway department, 38,000. And then also change the same time, your assistant, if you get an assistant. Starting salary, now I don't even know what that starting salary is.
Was that in there?
I don't know, but you don't have any money in the budget for one.
No, but I don't know what, we still gotta change the starting salary, don't we?
It's
You
17
make
something
it,
for the
huh?
assistant. It's 17 something for the
I
assistant.
can look it up.
17,000 for the assistant?
Well, if the
Oh,
supervisor's getting
no,
20.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant Kim's salary.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh,
But you talk,
It
You're talking about
isn't,
what
there's
we had
no
before.
starting salary for an
I
assistant.
don't have a clue what her salary is. She's got, what, 40 years?
I mean, maybe that's something we need to address during the budget hearings and so forth about that position. I mean, he had money in the budget last year for mechanic, we cut it out. I mean, he has the money there for it.
Well, that's what you guys are telling us, is that the county is solid, that the highway department is solid now.
Right.
So,
So, I mean, that's something we can address then, but
If
like,
it's solid enough, why don't we, if it's solid, why don't we start a guy out at 38, have a starting salary at 38, and your assistant, and hire an assistant?
Well, I'm telling you right now,
Because then you got somebody to cover
With the
when he's
people
on
that we-
vacation.
we're still
and all
less than
that.
what these people
Yeah,
are
I think
asking.
Huh?
We're still less than what these people are currently
Well,
making.
I don't want
It should
anybody coming
also
in and
got
dictating to us
benefits.
I don't
how
think
much
they
they're
are.
gonna make.
well, you don't want to dictate what you're gonna make, but you do
Well,
want
I'm
to
gonna
hire.
dictate to them what I'm gonna pay them.
Well, but you might not get anybody hired.
Well, then, if I don't, I don't. But how can we afford to go, that's no different than walking in this office over here at the auditor's office and dictating that you're gonna make 30,000. Parker, I mean, I can't understand that.
Well,
I've been in management for a while too.
And I've
Well,
been.
That's not a new
well,
idea
if
for
you're,
me.
if you're management, then you know that if you want to hire somebody, you have to pay what the marketplace demands. If they can.
I don't think 45.9 is the marketplace.
Well, we just went through
For
the
the highway
highway part.
We just went through the interview process.
I don't care what you guys go through the book, care less.
Well, that's the
I'm talking
market
about
value.
Fayette County, I ain't
We're
talking about,
We're talking about Fayette County.
And the highway department can cover its costs.
well, that's
what
my
we're talking
opinion,
about.
this is my opinion.
I understand.
So your opinion is you'd rather do without a highway supervisor?
No, my opinion isn't that, Barker, don't put that in there. No, it's not.
Well, what is it?
Well, I told you, starting salary, in my opinion, is 38,000.
You had, what, 3 people decline that withdrew or whatever?
I had two. We had 5 people
Right.
apply for the job.
Yes.
One person withdrew at the time we interviewed. Another person called up and withdrew later. But he also told us that day that he couldn't possibly take the job at the money we're paying. And then when he called back, he withdrew. He sure wasn't going to take it, even no matter what we give him, because there was no help. We had one other man that was making 43.5, and you can't even, he's going to take the job less than that. Now, he's not going to quit his job now to take less money. We had one man that possibly would take it who lives 40 minutes away from here, and I submit to you, somebody that 40 minutes away right now, in the wintertime, that's an hour and a half. And I don't see that working very well.
Highest paid is
He lives
mechanic,
over on the, well, I'm
and that's
not going to take where he,
36,110.
but by his words, he lived 40 minutes, it would take him 40 minutes to get here.
Heavy equipment operators.
But you, I mean, 40 minutes away, that's, to me, an
And
issue.
they get overtime.
It is an issue.
He gets no.
I mean, because you're on 24-hour call in the wintertime.
You wake him up at 2 o'clock in the morning in the wintertime for a snow emergency. By the time he gets the cobweb shaking out of his head and gets dressed and gets here,
Yeah.
you're talking hour, 15 minutes, I would guess minimum, depending on travel conditions.
The 34,200 is what
Russ.
the
I agree with what you're
heavy
saying. Somebody
equipment
can't come in
equipment
and say,
operators make it, their rate of pay times 40 hours.
I'm every bit worth of $50,000, and that's what you're gonna pay me to get me. I agree with that. It's what we can afford to pay. I don't disagree with you on that at all. 38,000 is a round figure. I was thinking more like 40, but, you know, at $40,000, I think you're going to get a qualified person. They're not dictating to you what they're gonna make. You come back to the table and say, this is what the council has offered to pay this position, take it or leave it. If you don't like it, we're gonna move on and do more applications or do the hiring process all over again.
I've been on both ends of it. I've been on where I've had to hire people. I've been on the other side negotiating, and I have had to dictate my price because you want to be paid what is fair, what is the standard. And I understand what you're saying. If the county only has this to pay, then that's all they have to pay. I understand it, and then it's up to me to make that decision, take it or leave it. Commissioner Barker's already been told by a few candidates that they're not going to take it. We're saying that it's solvent, that it can sustain the wage, and why not just address it and be done with it?
I think the candidate that was most qualified for the position, and we're not going to give away too much, the person that was qualified for the position makes 43.5, I think they'd take it for 40. I think they would. Because there's bonuses in the fact that they're closer to work, they get a county car, and that issue. And if they said no, I don't see why, I don't think they would. I think they'd take it for 40. I think 38's just, I think they declined it at 38. But I think 40's a round, solid number. And if they don't want it, we'll move on. But that's a
But we don't
decision.
have very long to move on. The 8th of August, Mr. Havlin's gonna be gone if we don't do something.
I think you have to keep in mind that we've already advertised for the position, and we are where we are right now. Our first preference is to keep Jay, because they're 34 years, 34 years worth of experience. Not to mention he knows how to manage a government budget for his department, which I think is our largest budget. Am I correct, Debbie?
What's that,
The
highway?
highway department's our largest budget.
And the county general's our largest budget.
Well, outside of that.
County general.
Yeah, it's a $3 million budget. And you're looking to retain good, qualified, knowledgeable help. And his job is anything but the gravy train. He's on call 24/7, 365 days a year, unless he's on vacation. And he supervises 13 people, if my memory serves correct. I mean, you get what you pay for. And I can't see anyone taking a pay cut to take this job. I just can't see anyone taking a pay cut, because a man that comes into a job interview, if he should know what he's worth. Now, granted, when in interviews, when you're dealing with people like that, sometimes they start high to come down, but I don't know of any of them that start where they are and go lower. Okay? That's the way I look at it.
He was on the hiring end over at the jail. Didn't you have qualified people that we couldn't afford to get when they applied for an opening that you had over at the jail?
Run that line again, I'm sorry.
You hired them over to jail, then we have qualified people that we couldn't afford to get?
I think there was an advertisement in the paper today for it.
That can apply to you?
I think in Rushville's.
Yeah.
Did they come in and dictate to you what they wanted to make?
No, there's a difference there, okay? People, especially young guys and women starting out in law enforcement, they'll take a daily ration of cheese and crackers to get their foot in the door so that they can go on for the law enforcement professions. Anyone in law enforcement doesn't get into it for the money, I can tell you that. But, and seriously, that is a big difference there.
What if we kind of compromise? They're at, basically, in essence, they're asking for 46. You're saying 30. What if we came up with 41? Give Jay, if Jay was interested, give him an award or $150 per year. He's 34 years of service. Jay,
Well,
you got 34 years of service, correct? At $150 times 34, that's $5,100. Jay leaves.
I'm not interested in opening up a can of worms for longevity pay.
well, one way to solve the problem is to retain Jay, you can raise Jay's salary up. You can consider the starting salary when your committee gets on its study of what the salary should be and address that at that time. But if you could raise Jay's salary up to 45.9 and
I'm just trying to find a way to appease kind of everybody here.
yeah, so am I.
I mean, it's 2 of one or 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I guess we do.
Like I say, if he doesn't want to.
If we did the 41, we did that. You don't want to get into that. I mean, maybe it's a one-time deal. I don't know, where we award Jay for his service. That way, if you have another person that does have experience in another highway garage in an adjoining county or something, you can consider that. Somebody that's working within the department.
Well, like I say, you have the average salaries of highway supervisors.
Right, I know.
In our
I know.
same size community, so that dictates what they need to be.
But we're not making much progress here. We're just kind of dancing around the bush. So I'm just trying to find a way to move this left to center or whatever.
I don't want to open up the longevity pay either. that's just opening up a can of worms down the road.
What do you think about just raising the salary up? That'd just be for Jay, and when Jay's gone, then you've got, decide what you want to do then, or work your starting salary into your program that you're working up.
I don't want to put the taxpayer, I understand what Jay's doing, why he's doing it and all that, but I don't think it's up to the taxpayers to subsidize his retirement. So I'm just saying we deal with the issues. If we want to raise the starting pay and re-advertise it, that's what we do. At a higher rate, 38, 40,000, I don't have a problem with that.
Dale, do you-
40,000 seems to be the, if you don't want to open up that can of worms, and I would strongly urge the council to start it out at 40, because that's going to get someone qualified that can do it if we're not going to subsidize.
Maybe. We don't know 100% that person's one. I've been on the end where you've interviewed people, they brought them in, their resume says they're qualified, they say all the right things, they know all the buzzwords to say, you get them in there and they don't know anything. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not qualified. It's a crapshoot, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, if you hire somebody and commissioners have the right to do background checks or their, call their previous employer and find out what kind of person they are and this and that, but
You gotta be careful what you ask.
as Barton said earlier, and we're running out of time, it's kind of
And you can ask the employer and the employer can only say positive things. So,
But
You
see,
may
as
not get
far
the
as
full story.
hiring someone and you get somebody who does, that's, like you said, that's a crapshoot. There's no guarantee in that. It's
well, we
just
have
the
a
fact that-
guarantee right there, right next to you.
Right.
Well, could I say a couple of things?
By all means.
First of all, Mark, I really don't look at this as subsidizing Jay's retirement. Let's remind ourselves how we got into this position to begin with. Nobody in the room caused this. PERF is going to punish Jay Havlin by Jay $150 a month if you're not retired by August the 8th. That wasn't Jay's doing, and it wasn't our doing. Someone at whoever runs PERF has caused this. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even be in this position. Jay would be planning on working a couple more years, and we would go right along like we have been for the last several years. But all of a sudden, this thing has come up. The commissioners have advertised the position as they should have. They interviewed candidates, and they're not interested in taking the job at our starting salary. Our starting salary is certainly too low for this job. But to pay Jay Havlin an extra $12,000 over the next 2 years, which he says he's willing to stay, to make up for what he will lose on his retirement by not retiring by August 8th, I don't think is really unreasonable. We've got a supervisor with 34 years experience, and if he's willing to stay a couple more years for this, personally I'm grateful, because he buys us time that we really need. As far as raising the starting salary, like Commissioner Bedore suggests, yes, I think we're certainly going to have to address that for sure. It would $40,000 a year get us a qualified candidate? I don't know. But I do remember not too long ago when the council agreed to hire a brand-new IT director for $40,000 a year, and no one even blinked an eye. So if it was okay in that situation, what's wrong with today's situation? It's just a different set of people.
And an IT director is leaving because he can make more money.
Exactly. Our IT director, what is it? His last day is
18.
18th of this month. He's gone for more money.
He's good.
Yes, he's very good. So I think if we could change the starting salary to $40,000 today, which we can't do, the commissioners would have to re-advertise the job, re-interview, and may or may not be able to come up with a new highway director by August the 8th, when Jay leaves. Pardon me. And then we'd be right back to where we are now. Personally, I'm happy. I'm happy that Jay's willing to stay a couple of years. And
I guess my question to you is, what about this new IT guy that they're gonna hire? He comes and demands, he wants $50,000, what are you gonna do?
Russ, I don't know. I really don't know.
What's the difference?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword there because the city's got to approve additional.
But if he demands that, what are you gonna do?
Well, if he's
Well,
hired, he's
I
gonna,
don't think that's gonna happen.
How are they gonna do that?
Huh?
I don't think so.
No, I don't
I
think
mean, if you can demand whatever salary you wanna get, I mean, what's
Well,
gonna keep you
it's
from
not-
doing that?
he's got, the new highway director can demand it too, but like you said, and the wage is set, but we all agree that the $26,000 is silly.
I can understand why we're still at 26,000 when Mark mentioned a while ago that everybody else we've hired them at 36 or 38 or whatever.
You can't
But we never changed the starting salary.
No.
The council, whatever,
Yeah, you can
prior to
change
us,
it to
approved the modification or whatever for that person, obviously.
It's the same
It
reason.
didn't make it a permanent change.
Starting
You want Debbie?
salaries. It's the same reason starting salaries council always kicks that can down the road every year and never addresses it.
Yeah, but
And how long have, you know,
It's been that way for 15 years, I guess. But what I'm saying is that the other guys, we've hired them starting, we're talking about this 26,000, keep bringing that up. But we've started all those guys way higher than 26,000.
exactly the same thing we're
Then
asking
why
you to do
didn't you
now.
change
Just raise his salary up.
I mean, you've been on the wage committee for 2 years now. I mean, I haven't seen anything coming for the council for
We're
wages.
probably not gonna see much because we ain't got much to deal with. What do we got? How can we basically raise the starting salary when we can't even raise the employee's salary?
Russ, you're talking about a man coming in and demanding wages.
Do what?
You said, you talk about a potential new hire for whatever position, the IT position or hire. You're talking them coming in and demanding X number of dollars, okay? That's not the case. You've got men, in this case men, who have established jobs with certain wages, okay?
Jack,
And any
Frank,
man-
I understand that. I mean, I understand that, totally understand that.
They're not gonna take less money when they're gonna send their kids to college, they're wanting to buy a new car, and it's just like everybody
But
else.
it's like anything else. It's like you have a certain price that you can pay, and that's all you can pay. Yeah, we
Well,
want the
if you
best
pay or
people
do-
that we can possibly get in every office in this courthouse.
But you can afford to pay, we can afford to keep Jay. Okay? We can afford to keep
The money's
Jay.
there.
The money is there.
Just because it's there, we don't need to spend it.
You need to hire a
Brandon,
supervisor.
huh?
You do need to hire a supervisor.
Yeah, you do. Sure do.
And you can't hire one for what you're willing to pay.
We're kind of handcuffing them.
Well, that's sort of my opinion, so. It's
Got a
back to my
question.
opinion again,
I
guys.
got a question, do some math for me, maybe I'm obviously missing something here.
You said that over a 2-year period, Jay would get an additional 12,000, okay? Because it's 6,000 from 39,900 to 45,900. So that'd be $12,000. So if he's losing $150 a month for 2 years, that's only $3,600. $150, that's $1,800 for a year because he's losing perf. Over 2 years,
Yeah, but he keeps that, he levels his perf out at that lower amount. His perf isn't gonna increase at the end of those
that's
2
what
years.
that's what I'm
He's gonna-
Mark,
No.
Mark,
You need to understand, you lose the 150 a month the first year.
Forever.
The next year it doubles what you lose.
Okay.
Because you lose that first
Up to the
150 and another 150 on top.
Up to the 4th year when it goes down to prime rate,
Yeah,
correct?
that's when it drops
So
off.
you lose it for 3 years? You said the 4th year goes into,
That's
If you-
$5,400 he's
you
losing.
You lose 5%.
5,400. If it doubles, it's 150 the first year.
that's what I'm asking, that's why I was asking. this
300 the next
question.
year. 300 the next year.
Okay,
That's 1,800 the first year, and it's 3,600 the next year. Brings it to $5,400. In 2 years, he's losing.
okay, so then you add in the next year, what's that get you? Because he's did 3 years and he wants 12,000 over 2?
What is it?
You go through the same process you did the second year.
So it
You're taking
doubles.
3
double-
times 150 a month off of it.
Yeah. So it's even more.
Yeah, that's why I was driving at that question, I wanted to see why. Because I'll never see perf, I ain't worried about that, so.
Yeah, can I say something?
To all means.
Sure.
Now, I'm not doing this to get more money, and I'm not trying to dictate to you people. This is just what it would take me to stay, is all it is. Because I can retire right now and make more than I'm making right now. So this is not an earned money thing to me. I just want to keep a level key on what's happening. I could stay in that way, I wouldn't have to worry about losing something in the future. Because when it gets down to prime rates, you're not going to be able to draw enough to live off. Because it's only going to be about 2%. Because by the time they get done, they'll have it down, it'll drop about 5% is what it'll drop.
I will say this, fellas, if we bandy this thing back and forth enough and make Jay mad enough to just throw in the towel and say, heck with you guys, August the 8th, I'm out of here, I don't care what happens, you're gonna have a worse situation then than what we have now, believe me. It's a good thing that Jay doesn't have a hot-headed temper, or he would have already, we have some people that work for us that would have already told us where to go and where to get off.
It can happen.
So if Jay is willing to stay a couple more years with this arrangement, all that's really doing is buying us time, because this issue is going to have to be revisited when he does leave, whether it be August the 8th or whether it be 2 years from August the 8th. It's going to have to be revisited, and this thing's going to have to be fixed.
Or we don't do it and then we deal with it next month or 2 months down the road.
And in the meantime,
You need to know something. so
you may be
can guide
without a
on.
highway
right.
supervisor, and we cannot
We
dictate
can't.
that the county surveyor go down there and do it, because he doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to. That's not his job.
That's true.
I mean, as it stands right now, if we do nothing, we wait till next month in our next scheduled meeting to deal with this, they still have the wage of $26,870 to deal with, and to try and find somebody, go through the advertising process, go through the interview process, because you don't advertise the price. I mean, I've never been in a situation where I typically know the price I'm going for an interview or my wage until you're talking to them, because it's going to depend upon your experience. Well, in this case, experience doesn't matter because the starting wage is what it is. And nobody's going to take it for that $26,870. So we'll be facing the same situation again in a month. Rather than just dealing with it, either give Jay the additional money, or we can't deal with the pay raise right now because it hasn't been advertised. But I think they need to know what direction to go. I mean, I've offered a solution out there. I don't hear anybody else offer any other solutions. The Commissioner Barker's offered a solution. And here we don't want to subsidize them. I think that's kind of unfair to say that we're doing that. The man's willing to stay on and he can enjoy retirement now. He doesn't want to retire. He's being forced into it because of his perp situation. Am I correct, Jay?
That's right.
So,
The question is, what can we legally do today, Chris?
Well, I don't think you can raise a salary today. Was that,
Yeah, you can.
was that in the advertisement?
No, that doesn't have to be, it's after you pass it, then we have to do the ordinance and advertise for it, but we do have a 144 that was basically tabled until now, so.
correct.
It would require an additional appropriation to actually provide the money to
Yeah,
do this. We,
either that or transfer money in some case. But
okay, do we have money in the lines to transfer, don't we?
He knows his budget better than I do.
Jay, do we have the money available in another line to transfer this?
I'm pretty sure we do. I'd have to go back and look at the budget, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Well,
Because we're not in too bad shape right now.
it doesn't have to be all done in one lump
No.
sum, just enough to, we could transfer enough to finish you out the remainder of this year.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
next year's budget is better than this year's budget.
Right,
As far as what we're getting in.
yeah.
If I'd done the numbers right, and I got all my information from Debbie, and we both
We
sat
got
down
from
and
the
figured it's
state,
gonna be
which
better.
we got last year, and you're actually exceeding that,
Yeah, we're
that
seeing that this year
revenue.
what we're drawing in. But this year's draw, we're actually about 270,000 over what we draw last year.
Yeah,
Okay, so basically all we really need to do, if this is what you fellows want to do, is cover the remaining, these next 5 months, remaining 5 months of the year for this year, and then just have it in the budget for 2015. And then we won't have to fool with it anymore. Until Jay does say, I've had enough, I'm out of here.
It gives you time to talk about it in your wage committee, and how we're gonna address it in the future, and what that starting wage will be. Whether it's 38, whether it's 40, whether it's whatever the magic number is.
So you're talking about transferring enough money to finish out this year? For right now, I mean, so you're talking $3,000, basically, 6 months?
I'd have to do the math, Mark, but you count from August the 8th till the end of the year, that you're talking 5 months there, that, and it's, you know, it's not gonna be a big amount of money to transfer, and
$750?
we're,
Well, that would be 150, no.
you know, we've got the money in the line items to do it.
That's not right.
Jay, let me ask you
Well,
a
you
question.
need more than that, Jay, though, don't you? If you would delay it from now, let's say until the end of the year, you need more than,
I was
We
wrong.
need $6,000 a year, what you're talking about, 3,000.
yeah, be 3 for this year.
Need $3,000 for this year.
Jay, what happens to your perf when you do retire?
When you
If
retire.
you stayed on 2 years?
If I stay on 2 years, it'll drop, it depends on when I go, and after that second year, if I go past October of that second year, it's gonna drop 3 points, which is 3%. Because it drops 1% every, 1st of October every year. And then when it goes into that 4th year, it drops down to whatever the prime rate is. And well, actually, it's a little more than per percent a year, because they figured it'd drop 5% total before it dropped the prime rate. Because you take a pretty good hit when
So
it
you're
climbs
gonna,
off.
so you're gonna lose anyhow?
I will lose if we'll stay in working, yeah, otherwise, because then what they're trying to do is trying to stretch the perf out to make it last longer, is what they're trying to do.
Evidently, the perf fund must be in danger of decline.
But
Just like we're.
the thing, what I want to say, Russ, if I go right now, it don't drop at all.
Don't drop it
It
off.
stays fixed right where it's at. That's what you was asking. I thought you was asking how was it dropping. No, they don't change. If you can go before the 1st of October, you're good. That's why Mr. Nutty from the street with the water department's going. I know a lot of people that's going. There's a lot of them going to get out before that happens. 'Cause I've talked to a guy up in Randolph County, they've got 4 people leaving their highway department just for that reason. And it's killing them because they said he can't afford to lose people up there.
But if you're going after that, you still lose,
Yeah, the state is losing a lot of people.
no matter when you go. After next month, no matter when you go, you lose.
After October.
After October.
Anybody returns after that?
Well, I think everyone here understands the situation. And like I've said before, we've never had something like this happen before. But, you know, we got to deal with it. If we are to raise Jay's salary for the next couple of years, what's the first step in this process? Approval 144 or?
Yeah, there's a 144 here. And then I'll just do an ordinance.
Okay. Let me see that 144.
That's what was, I had the last meeting.
Okay. We can sit here for the rest of the week and debate this thing and maybe make progress, maybe get nowhere. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a motion to approve this salary ordinance, this salary 144 for the county highway department supervisor of $45,900 a year. That's my motion. I'm putting that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? I'm gonna pass the gavel to Dale. I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
Roll call.
Mike Winter,
Yes.
Dale Strong,
Yes?
Russ Seidel,
No.
Mark Flat.
No.
Okay, it's a deadlock, so now what?
Okay, well, I think that's all we can do here right now. We have 3 council members absent. Too bad that's the case, so we may have to wind up having another special meeting on this. Because right now, the way it stands right now, the commissioners can't do anything with this.
You wanna advertise for another meeting?
Like this.
You're gonna have to.
Does anyone know, well, I guess Councilwoman Wise is out of state.
Wolf was not here because this was his anniversary, so that's why he didn't come.
His anniversary.
Yes. I don't know about Donnie.
Okay. Well, it's hard to get these things settled with just half a council here. We'll have to take this up again, fellas.
I make a motion for another special meeting.
You know, here's a question.
Does anybody know when Shirley gets back?
She's on her way back.
Okay.
I have no idea.
So she'll be back this week, I assume. Right?
I
I'm
don't
assuming.
know, not talking to her.
I don't know what her plans are when she gets back.
Is that gonna be discussed or not? I've got a jet ready to take off over here.
I'm texting Shirley.
Some of your plans.
We start to consider the building today. am
I know.
correct?
Right.
And I'm trying to see if Shirley will be back this week, if we can schedule another special meeting and get this done.
We just need 48 hours if you wanna, then we'd have to add it.
I would think about Thursday.
Well, does anyone know if everyone will be in town back by then? Did you text Shirley?
I did text Shirley, waiting for a response.
Well, she may respond very soon. Would it be, would everyone be amenable to taking a 10 or 15 minute break and see, or recess and see if we can hear back from Shirley and get a special meeting set up again?
Let's take a 10-minute recess.
Okay.
I think in the interest of time, we'll finish up our topic on the pay for the highway director. I think we're in agreement that we need to schedule another special meeting. I propose that we do that next Thursday at 6 p.m.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Don't make no special meeting on my account.
Well, we have to get this
I will
done.
go ahead and retire August 2nd. That takes a lot of this drama away from it.
Okay, well,
And you said
this Thursday.
this Thursday, this coming.
It gives Debbie enough time to advertise
Okay.
at 6 p.m. I just need that in the motion, I guess.
Talking Thursday, July 10,
Yes,
at 6 p.m.
yes.
6 p.m.
And I think I'm gonna get in trouble because I probably have something scheduled.
Check everybody but yourself.
Everybody has to check before we do this.
Well, I have nothing on my calendar.
Find myself so we can swim.
Is everyone else amenable?
Yeah, that's fine.
Have a motion?
I'll move we have the county auditor advertise another special meeting of the county council for Thursday, July 10 at 6 p.m.
You have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting will be next, this Thursday, July 10th at 6 p.m. Also, in the interest of time, talking about the highway garage, both Councilman Flum and I have looked at the plans. I think from our conversations with Dave, there's not a lot that can be done that hasn't been done to cut costs. Councilman Flum, last public meeting, you said that you would be okay with additional money coming out of the highway department to supplement what they're short. Is that correct?
I said that, yes, I made
Okay.
a suggestion.
So in the interest of time, we would have to advertise for it anyways, but I believe that there is a way that we can do that the money can come from the highway garage so that the commissioners can move forward and proceed with the construction of the highway garage. It has to be done in the form of an additional, which we have to advertise for anyways, to make that happen. So I don't know what purpose is gonna be to continue to discuss this. If you're in agreement, and I think some other council members are in agreement, that the money not come out of the cum cap fund, that it come out of the highway department. And we feel that there's a way that we can do that. Councilman Sidell, do you have anything to comment on that, or? Dale?
Obviously, this is another situation that none of us asked for. When council appropriated $600,000 for the new garage, no one really knew what those bids were going to come in at. We had no idea. That $600,000 figure was just a shot in the dark. but it did give the commissioners a budget to work from. And unfortunately, our lowest bid comes in $152,000 over what we appropriated. If we're going to go ahead with this project, there is a way to come up with that extra amount of money by using some highway funds that we are in pretty good shape on, and not tap the Kim Cat Building Fund anymore. 'Cause we may need that to borrow from for some reason or another, and we have some other projects that could possibly come up. I'm sure there'll be something come up, so it's certainly worth looking at. So if you said you were amenable to it, I'm not going to argue with you about it. You know, in one way, it doesn't matter. You know, what difference does it make whether we take it out of our front pocket or our hip pocket? It's coming out of one of our pockets. But there is a lot to be said about the way we have to account for the money we spend, and the way some of these funds are restricted. We do need to be careful and not overspend in one and then not be able to borrow or use it for something that we really need it for something else later on, if that makes any sense.
So with that being said, I would suggest that we make this a part of our meeting as well next week, or this week, Thursday, on the 10th, at 6 p.m. That by that time that you have the additional ready, no?
No, because it has to be advertised, it has to be in the paper 10 days prior to the
Okay.
meeting, so.
Well, then we go 10 days out and get this thing moving. So next week, Thursday?
Well, it takes me 2 days from the time I send it over the paper to when they get it in. So if I send it over there tomorrow, it will be in the paper on the 10th. So really, you couldn't probably really act on it until like the 21st.
It's Monday.
10th. Yep.
So we do that then.
We could do it that way. But that issue is not quite as pressing as the situation with the highway director. Our bids are good for, we've got a 60-day window of opportunity, right?
Right.
Okay.
The sooner we get going, the sooner they can get started, keep it the winter, but that's the only, we have 60 days.
We would still meet with this Thursday for the pay for the highway supervisor, and have another meeting on the 21st to finish discussion in the garage and hopefully get that done.
It's okay with me, I don't care.
6 p.m. Motion?
Okay, for the 21st?
Yeah, we need to table this then.
Okay, we'll, maybe we table any further discussion today on the funding for the county highway garage. Authorize the county auditor to advertise for an additional appropriation. And we meet in special session Monday, July 21, 6 p.m.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second to motion to table any further discussion on the highway garage, hold a special session meeting on the 21st of July at 6 p.m. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. There's no other further topics. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Have a second?
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
What time is the meeting Thursday?